And once again, what is up out there, my fellow patriots? How y'all doing in America, land of the free, home of the brave? Me, the Wicked Wizard, back with another video this evening. Tonight we're going to talk about, well, illegal alien deportations. I'm sure if you're watching the news at all, you've heard about this Kilmar Abrego Garcia dude, which is this is just all insane. Anyway, you know, they don't ever seem to care about the rape and murdered by illegal people. Fortunately, these lovely young women and children have sadly had their lives ripped away from them by people like Garcia, Kilmore, whatever the heck his name is. It's so funny how they just opened up the borders and just allowed all these people to come into our country over the last 4 years. No vetting, no nothing. And now, illegally, by the way, right? In violation of the Supreme Court, the Constitution, everything else. Now they expect that we vet every single person that we take out of the country. No, there's only one requirement, actually. Are you here illegally? If so, goodbye. That's it. That's it. It's pretty darn easy to understand. And anyway, this guy, this dude is awesome. So, President Bukali is a genius. El Salvador has introduced $1,000 fee for passengers coming from India or Africa, and that will discourage illegal immigration to America through their country. This guy is badass. You gotta love this guy, right? So, anyway, so this happened, not too long ago, a couple days ago or so. Yeah, it's a little bit long, it's almost 5 minutes. So, kind of bear with me. This is kind of needed to get to the rest of the story here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and hit play here. I may stop a couple of times, but check this.
Return the man who your administration says was mistakenly
Which one is
deported. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork that needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane. So will you return him?
So do you see how crazy that is? He's an El Salvadorian citizen in El Salvador, in an El Salvadorian prison. He's an MS-13 gang member. This right here is the president of El Salvador. And our court is trying to tell our president to make this guy release one of his citizens that's a terrorist to be smuggled back into the United States. So that would mean you're smuggling in a terrorist. Okay, sure.
You are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Can you just also respond to that question? Because, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant, because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As two immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue.
I mean, how crazy is that? Is that not illegal? Is that not an illegal thing for a judge to do? First of all, who the hell does this judge think he is? He has no business being able to talk about foreign affairs in any way. He's not the president. These radical judges, man, we got to get rid of them. We got to get rid of them. I mean, who are these people? Well, you have to go in. What were we supposed to do? Send in a SEAL Team 6 to break into the prison and take this guy out and bring him back here. And then as soon as he steps foot on American land, we have to deport him again because he's a terrorist. And then we erase SEAL Team 6 for bringing a terrorist into America. I mean, what the hell's going on?
It was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan
But
to
the
ask for
Supreme
any
Court
help
is
to get
asking
it back?
to,
And
that-
what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor?
in our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
No version.
See, again, even if he was sent back, he would immediately be deported. What is the point in this? Boy, I'll tell you, man, I guess it's a good hill for the Dems to die on because they are gung-ho about bringing back criminal, terrorist, illegal aliens to our country so they can continue to murder and rape us. That's great.
Of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked
¿Usted lo
President
liberaría,
Bukele, what is
Presidente
can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm also going to suggest that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always
How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him.
Exactly. What kind of question is that? He's a terrorist in your jail. You bring him back? Isn't that a crime? I mean, like literally, if this dude brought that guy on a plane to America, when they stepped off the plane, wouldn't he be arrested for smuggling a terrorist? And of course, the terrorist itself would be arrested and immediately deported. But wouldn't that make him a criminal? I mean, this is crazy. The Democrats have just lost their damn minds.
To the United States. You can release him inside of Salvador. Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so they can go back to being the murder capital of the world? And that's not going to happen.
Well,
Someone was detected at your front door.
See, you heard that. It's not going to happen, right? So the man's clearly telling you it's not going to happen. There's no way it's going to happen. The only guy that could make it happen is this dude. I'm sure if this dude told this dude to do it, he would. But he don't have. Our courts have no jurisdiction over what Trump's doing, and what, of course, not any jurisdiction over this dude.
love to have a criminal,
Yeah,
released into
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick, these are sick people. Mark, do you have something to say about
yeah, I mean, Stephen Eitland.
I love Trump. They would love it to bring these criminals back. These are sick people.
I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President, No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
It is that simple. It actually is just that simple. End of story. This is all nonsense. It's craziness. It's craziness. So that was your answer, right? What's going to happen with this dude? Why he's there? He's not coming back. He's never ever coming back, no matter what you do or say, right? What happens? Ah, look at this. ah, Maryland senator flies to El Salvador to visit. I love how they did. American dad mistakenly deported to Notorious prison. No, no, no. He is not an American dad. He's an El Salvadorian citizen who also happens to be a member of MS-13, who had a deportation order that he failed to show up for. And therefore, he's out. He's a terrorist. MS-13 has been declared a terrorist organization. I don't understand what part they don't get. So anyway, this shithead that doesn't that seems to care an awful lot. Is working all kind of overtime to help a terrorist come back to our country. When meanwhile, here's one of his actual constituents. He says that. Abrego, whatever his name is, Garcia, Kilmar dude, is his constituent, which he's not. He's a El Salvadorian citizen, but this is his citizen here, and let's see how much he cares about that.
And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother, and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't understand it either. The only thing that makes sense is that this guy is a piece of shit, commie, scumbag that doesn't give a flying fuck about his actual constituents, the American citizens. He is way hyper concerned about gang members, terrorists, and people who rape and kill American citizens, because that's what the Democrats want. They want them all in our country to cancel out law-abiding American citizens' votes. They don't care if law American citizens get killed. They have no feelings about anything but money and power. These people are evil. They're scumbags, and they want you dead. That's just that's just all there is to it. Here he is talking about how stunning and brave he is over here. Let's check that.
I saw the comments of President Bukele, and I look forward to meeting with him. I've requested to meet with him. I reached out to the ambassador here to ask to meet while he's here. But I've also made clear if we can't meet here, I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the release of this individual who is illegally detained, a Maryland man who's the father of 3.
A Maryland man who's illegally detained. Wow, man. These people.
In a notorious prison in El Salvador. And I believe the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to allow him to return to the United States of America, because it is absolutely unjust and illegal to have
unjust and illegal to get rid of a terrorist criminal. Wow.
Have this Marylander detained
again, Marylander, El Salvadorian,
one more day in a notorious prison in El Salvador. Of course, President Trump could have just said, bring him home. Of course he could have done that.
Why would President Trump do that? We elected him to get rid of these criminals. We ain't bringing them back.
But this is an administration that has lied about Mr. Abrego Garcia, right? The vice president of the United States tweeted out that he had a criminal record. That was
Okay, so here we go with they're just nonsense bullshit. You already saw Pam Bondi reading the court documents. He's already been found to be MS-13, which is now a terrorist organization. We know he's an illegal who broke into our country. He's from El Salvador and he had a deportation order. So
a lie. They're just lying. They've gotten caught lying. They don't want to admit it. And they have an obligation to bring him home. But I will say the president of El Salvador should not now take it upon himself to say that he is detaining him for one more day, because that is kidnapping. I understand that
that's kidnapping. Kidnapping. Deporting a terrorist illegal gang member that's here, not a citizen, is kidnapping. Wow, man, these people. But one day, the illegals kidnap, rape, and murder. That's fine. Hey, don't worry about that.
Attorney General said that we would provide a plane to bring him home. So all the president of El Salvador has to do now is hand over and release an innocent man and let him come home to his family.
Wow. Wow. So you see that, you heard that, right? Yeah, the guy went there today, and the president of El Salvador told him to go fuck himself. He wasn't giving up anybody, you dumbass. He had already told you. He already told you what he would do back over here. Remember, right here. He told you, I'm not going to release that guy. But no, it doesn't matter. You got a grandstand and show how lefty you are, how commie piece of shit you are, how pro criminal you are, how anti-American you are. Um, you don't care about the mothers of the murdered children. Talk about separation of families, boy. Wow, yeah, that's a permanent separation that didn't have to happen if it wasn't for scumbags like this, right? Um, and then on the last note here, this one's kind of wild. So, what this is this is a police report. Um, the wife of deported MS-13 terrorist Abrego Garcia Kilmar testified she feared for her safety. He was a violent repeat abuser. Today, a Dems senator flew to El Salvador on taxpayers' dime to demand his release. Democrats protect murderers and abusers. And there it is. You can read it. Yeah, so she was in fear for her life. He would beat the shit out of her. So he's an El Salvadorian citizen, illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, which is now makes him a terrorist. And on top of that, he's a lovely wife beater. Wow. I am so happy that this fucking idiot, this jackass over here, got told to go pound salt. He came back without anybody. On the other hand, I was just thinking still, what if he said, okay, here, take him. Go ahead, take him, fly him back. And then he called Trump, gave him a heads up. Hey, I released that guy to this weirdo soy boy lefty commie over here. He's bringing back your terrorist MS-13 gang member. He's going to be landing about 5 o'clock at JFK International Airport. Maybe you should have some law enforcement waiting on the tarmac. And then soon as they step off the plane, this guy, excuse me, sir, hands up. You're under arrest. I'm under arrest? For what? For what? What am I under arrest for? You just smuggled in a terrorist into our country, which is definitely a felony. I mean, you're under arrest. We're locking you up under the jail, and grab up the Alberto dude, whatever, and send him right back to the El Salvadorian prison. That'd have been cool. I would have done something like that. But anyway, I mean, unbelievable. The Democrats care more about criminals, and they want you dead. They hate you. It's just the way it is. And if you can't see it, then I don't know. I guess your brain don't work or something. Who knows? But anyway, that's what I think. I would like to know what you all think. Leave me some comments down below. Any of my scenarios make sense? Should this guy have been kept here? Should we bring him back? Let me know what you think. But until next time, peace.